guys, and welcome to the next tutorial of ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux, the advanced distribution. So in this tutorial we will be taking an in-depth look into exploits and payloads. So let's go ahead and fire up our Kali Linux. So I'll just start my VMware. Okay. So all exploits in Metasploit framework will fall into two different categories. One is active and another one is passive. So active exploits will exploit a specific host. It will run until its completion and then it will straight away exit. So today we will be looking on to two in-depth types of things, that would be payloads and exploits. And after that I will be giving you some good database description related to Metasploit. So let's have a look at that. Okay, so yeah, before I proceed, there are brute force modules that will exit when a shell opens from the victim, and module execution stops if an error is encountered. So you can force an active module to the background by passing -j to the exploit command, such as exploit-j. So I'll just go ahead and so you can just go ahead and type exploit-j and you can go ahead and use that exploit. Or if you're in MSF console, let me just go ahead and open the MSF console. I will be using the Windows SMB psexec exploit, and I'll be showing you how exactly these two differ. That's active and passive exploits. By the time it starts, I'll just go ahead and also start another terminal. So now over here I'll be using the SMB psexec exploit. So I'll just go ahead and type use exploit, and I'll go ahead and use it for Windows SMB /p, let me check psexec exploit, and I'll hit enter. So it has accepted the psexec. I'll just go ahead and type set our host to my remote computer. That would be 192.168.236.130. This is my own IP address which I have received from over here. So yep, and I'll just go ahead and hit enter. After that I'll just go ahead and type, as you can see we have the R host set up over here. After that I'll go ahead and set the payload option, and I'll go ahead and I'll just go ahead and use the Windows one, Windows/shell/ and I'll use the reverse TCP, and I'll hit enter. So payload is also set up right now. That's the Windows shell reverse TCP. After now I will go ahead and select the local host. So I'll just go ahead and type set lhost, and I'll just go ahead and start up my Windows 7 as well. This is not actually a good idea, because most of the time if your firewall is open, even if the normal Windows Defender is open, it will not allow you to go ahead and exploit that particular system. So most of the time an active exploit is far better than just a passive exploit. But still there are sometimes people using Windows XP in many of the organizations, and that's the reason I am teaching you that. And Windows XP is extremely vulnerable to this specific exploit. So I'll just go ahead and open my command prompt. Okay, so my IP address is 192.168.236.131. So I'll just type, and I'll just go ahead and set it to 1. Perfect. Now I'll hit enter. So now I have the remote host set up, the payload, and the local host set up. Next thing I need to do is to go ahead and set the local port. So just type select L port to, let's say, for 4444 for example. You can choose anything, it's not anything like SN specific. And I'll be using the SMB user, so I'll just go ahead and select set SMB. Okay, so we have SMB, so I'll be using select SMB user, and I'll just go ahead and type victim. Okay, perfect. Set SMB user, and I'll go ahead and type I want to go ahead and select it to be the victim, so I'll just go ahead and type victim. Let me check. Okay, sorry, SMB user. Okay, so SMB user is the victim right now. So now I'll go ahead and select the S3CR3T exploit. So I'll just go ahead and select the same thing again, but over here I'll select S3CR3T. So that is secret, so it doesn't matter if I had a different one. So I'll just go ahead and I'll do one thing. I'll just go ahead and use my own one, the one which I'm using right now. It's test user, so I'll just select test user, and I'll go ahead and select the password as SMB pass, and my password is abc@123. And just remember that this password that I have used is extremely insecure. I have just used it for testing purposes, so I have used it. Now I'll just go ahead and type exploit. Okay, so as you can see, it tried to go ahead and connect to my remote server, but the connection refused to. Okay, let me check if my connection is still active. Ping 192.68.236.131. Okay, the connection is active, so I'll just go ahead and try to exploit that once more. Test user abcd@123 exploit. Okay, so the reason for this is just ignore the part that it's giving over here that connection is refused. So what passive exploits does is that it waits for incoming host and then exploit them, so it won't work normally. What you need to do is that you need to make sure that the person over here is actually trying to go and access something from your system, and only when he does that kind of thing you will be able to access that. So passive exploits are always focused on clients such as web browsers, FTP clients, etc., because they need something to redirect something to them. They can also be used in conjunction with email exploits waiting for connections, and passive exploits report shells as they happen as they can be enumerated by passing the -l to the sessions command. Passing -i will interact with the shell. So selecting an exploit in Metasploit adds exploit and check commands to the MSF console. So I'll just go back and I can just type, let's say, use exploit, and I can just type Windows SMB / and I'll just type MS09, and yep, perfect, and I'll hit enter. And inside over here I'll just go ahead and use exploit. Okay, sorry, I'll just go ahead and use the help. So as you can see over here, I'll just okay, and stop. So as you can see it over here, we have the different check option to go ahead and check if the target is vulnerable. So before I go ahead and proceed with that, I need to know whether what I'm doing will work. So after this, I'll just go ahead and type show. Let's see what happens. Okay, I believe the show should be in. Perfect. So this is what it does exactly. It's showing me now what will happen, and okay, perfect. So it's what is exactly is gathering all the information that specific exploit can do, and it's showing me all of these things. So using an exploit also adds more options to the show command. So I can also type, let's say, like MSF exploit show targets, and it will also go ahead and show me targets if there are any. Okay, I believe show targets have, okay, let me check. Perfect, it should be lowercase l. So this exploit will work towards Windows Vista Service Pack 1, Service Pack 2, and the Server 2008. So now I need to go ahead and check whether there are any payloads related to that. So I can just go ahead and type show payloads and hit enter. And these are the payloads that are available for this kind of exploit. And these are showing exactly which one is encrypted, which one is not, and which one is the best used for our purposes. So after that, now we can go to also use the show advanced commands or show options and show evasion. So I'll just go ahead and type show options, it will show exactly what all I have set. If I have set something to the R port, it will go ahead and select that, else it will go ahead and select the default 445, and the R host would be my remote computer's address. So when I go ahead and set any of these things, it will show me that. So I'll just go ahead and show you that set R host 192. Okay, perfect. So let's see if what I get if I show options. Perfect. So the remote host is set. Now I'll just go ahead and use set R port, and I'll just type, let's say 44. No, I'll just use 44, and I'll go ahead and type show options, and as you can see, the R port has been changed. And there is one more method I can go ahead and type, that's show options, or not show options, it's show advanced, and it will show me that how exactly will it work, what will be the verbose, and how many workspace will this module acquire to go ahead and actually get the required number of port connections. So these are all the types of things that this can be done and this can be worked through. And the last thing would be to go ahead and show evasion. That will show you exactly how what are the ways through which it can go ahead and evade some of the things, so that person who is actually trying to, or the forensic investigator who is actually trying to gather information, he will not be able to gather any kind of thing. So yeah, that's it, and that is it for the exploits part. It's not much in detail, and exploits, there's not much to learn about exploits as well, because it's very easy to understand. So that's it for this tutorial, but I'll be continuing with the payloads stuff in the next tutorial, and just hang on for that.